Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome,
Hi,
welcome.
everyone.
Welcome again to tonight's episode, tonight's show, Living Together Without Falling Apart. So
Yes.
living together
Without falling apart.
absolutely, absolutely. And tonight we are so honored, we are so happy that you are able to join us.
Yes.
Indeed, last week
Yes.
was we had some amazing feedback. Indeed.
Yeah, we did. Appreciate you all for your support and also your words of encouragement as well that you all given to us. We appreciate that, and it gives us the drive to want to carry on doing this. Yeah.
Absolutely, and this week we're going to do a part 2 of what we started last week, which was how to invest in your relationship. So this week's part 2, we're going to give you some points this week. Indeed, so part 2 of how to invest in your relationship.
Yes.
So let me know if you are on here. Let me know who you are. You can type your name in so that we can say hello to you. We can kind of communicate with you as well.
Yeah.
If you've got any questions, you can always send that in to us. Indeed, but please let us know who you are. Indeed.
Yes.
So we're going to get straight into tonight's show. So the first point that we wanted to share in how to invest in your relationship is learning to love yourself first. Learning to love yourself first, and then loving and your spouse after, loving your partner after. What do I mean by learning to love yourself first? Indeed, you want to have a go at saying why do we need to learn love ourselves first?
To be honest, if you don't love yourself, I don't think you will ever love anyone else. To be honest with you, first you have to learn to love yourself, how to look after yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Those areas of your life, you need to, they need to be rooted and grounded before you
Absolutely.
can actually, reach out to someone else.
Or loving your spouse, indeed. And
Yeah.
I wanted to just touch on what my husband has just said, because sometimes I know that you can enter into a relationship and deep down you don't love yourself, you don't value yourself, and I find that that's a big issue, that's a big problem there, because if you don't love yourself, then you won't be able to love your spouse. You find it a problem, you find difficulty in learning to love somebody else, and therefore you put the relationship on hold. It puts the relationship in jeopardy. The relationship cannot grow, it's stagnant indeed. So you have to deal with yourself first. You have to love yourself first. You have to love you. You have to value you first. And when you value and when you love yourself first, you are able indeed to show love to your partner, to show love to your spouse, and even others around you, children, indeed. But we find that a lot of people are struggling with, ladies as well, loving themselves, accepting who they are. God made you that way, accept who you are.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. To be honest.
Absolutely. Sometimes we also come with like bits, flaws and things that is not in the right place, indeed. But you can't expect your spouse to love and appreciate what you come with, especially, and you don't love yourself. So you have to love yourself. You have to value yourself first. And I just wanted to share a part with myself. I think when we first met, I was because I suffered from keloid scar, and this was something I want to share this with you, right? And I have a scar on me, on my arm here. And at first, right, because I found it hard to accept it. It's something that I think that I might have to live with it for the rest of my life. But then I found it so hard to even accept that my husband would accept it, because I first didn't accept it. But until I learned to accept this is it. This is it. Some scars, it's there for life. Some scars, you can't get rid of it. But until I learn to accept myself and accept my body, yes, it's on there. I can't change it. I love myself for it, indeed. Then I'm able to, my husband, I could see that love, because that didn't offend him, indeed. Even when I found it personal, that he didn't even, that's something that you didn't take note of.
To be honest, if someone really love you or care about you, to be honest, you know, a lot of people, they probably say, you know, a lot of people look at other people from the outside, but if you really love someone and care about them, it's about what's in here. It's not what about what's on the outside, to be honest with you. But you know, self-love, you know, and you know, you need to learn to love yourself and value yourself at the end of the day, before you can you know, you have to accept the way that you are, you know, who you are. You know, if maybe, you know, there's issues or whatever, then work on it. You know, you need to work on that issue, whether it is physically or mentally, you know, or maybe emotionally, you know, but you need to kind of work on it in order before you move forward.
Absolutely.
To be honest with you.
And that's why it's so important to love you, and then you're able to love others. And a lot of relationships struggles because that person does not love who they are, and you can't move on no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do. You can't move on until you learn to love you. So we wanted to share, we wanted to encourage you to love you first, accept who you are, value yourself, know what you bring, know what you value, and when you're able to do that, then everything else will come after. You're able to love your spouse in the way that God has, you know, ordained for you to love him. But if you don't love yourself, you will struggle. So please, again, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you are loving yourself. Indeed, we noticed that there's you know, you're all on here, you are on here. Please let me know who you are. Let me know who you are. Type something in the message box. Type something so that we can know who you are that is watching, indeed, so we can give a shout out to you. We can say hello to you, and also if you've got any questions for us, indeed, you are able to ask us. Indeed, don't be afraid, don't be shy, indeed. So yes, that was the first point, is loving yourself first, and then you are able to love your spouse, you are able to love everything else, indeed. So the second point that we wanted to share, indeed,
letting go of your insecurities.
So letting go of your insecurities, indeed, letting go of your insecurities. What do we mean by that? Letting go of your insecurities. Some people are traumatized by their past. Some people are hurt by what's been said to them, like, and can be going back from your childhood development, and because of that, you find that you are not able to go forward in your relationship. But because you still have that hurt, you still have that past that you're still carrying on with you, you're still not able to move on, and it jeopardizes again the relationship, because the insecurities of how you are feeling, the past hurt. So, you know, in order to move on, you have to let go of your past hurt. What is it that has been said to you when you were growing up? What have been done to you? And it's kind of stopping your relationship from progressing, because you're still feeling it, and it's the subconscious mind. You can't get rid of it. But until you deal with it, then you're not able to move on. And I think the main thing is making sure that you're dealing with it. How do you deal with it? Some people might have to even get help. Professional help to deal with that first. Indeed, because some of it is really go deep, from childhood days and years you've been carrying it around. You've been carrying this feeling.
It's not even just childhood. You find probably some male or some females that's been in relationships in the past where they have been it could be how could I word this now? It could be maybe like abusive relationship, or where their partner maybe used to abuse the other one, or so forth, and because of that, they probably broke up after because things didn't work out, but they probably end up meeting someone else, and by meeting that other person, or the way that they look at say if it happened to a female, for example, every male that she meets, she's gonna paint that man with the same brush.
Yes.
Every man that she come across, she's gonna paint him with the same brush. Thinking that, every man is the same, or if it was a female, vice versa. I'm sorry, if it was a male, he's gonna think that every woman is the same. Paint her as well with the same brush. To be honest with you, but this is where, if you got those insecurities and stuff, you need to kind of work on it. Try and work on it. Try and work on it where if you can't do it yourself, get some professional help.
Yes.
Whether you have to pay for the session, or whatever it is, in order to help yourself. Because sometimes in order for you to move forward, you have to deal with whatever happened to you in the past. Otherwise, you're not going to move forward.
Absolutely.
You're not. It's going to be hard.
Absolutely.
It's going to be hard.
It totally put your relationship in jeopardy. You can't move on no matter what, no matter how hard you try. But we would suggest that you deal with the insecurities. For those of you who are even thinking of going into a relationship as well, these are some of the things that you can deal with. Deal with them first, and then you are able to truly love somebody. Indeed, because if you've got insecurities just that are hanging around and you're carrying them, then when that right person comes to you, you're not able to even see them, you're not even able to accept them, because you're insecure about a lot of things. Indeed, so we want you to deal with the insecurities, anything that has been said, the hurt, the pain that you're feeling. Deal with it. How can you deal with it? Some of you might have to get professional help. Seek counselors that are able to help you deal with this. And then in order for you to have that successful relationship, indeed, because that you entering into a relationship just jeopardizes your relationship, puts your relationship in a bit of a hold. It put your relationships in terms of progress. Your relationship's not progressing. Each time you take that step, it's going backwards because you're still dealing with that insecurity.
You do find people where things that happened to them in the past, they try and saying that they're only going to forget it and so forth. But they say you forgive but you never forget. But you need to, honestly, it is crucial for you to deal with whatever happened to you. It might be hurtful. It will be hurtful. So they try to put it at the back of their mind, but you can't put it at the back of your mind. You have to confront it. Take the bull by the horn, as they would say, and and deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be honest,
Face it.
In order to move to the next chapter in your life, you have to.
And it's a constant struggle that you'll find. As Dwayne, you mentioned that even though you said, okay, I can deal with it, I'll forget about it. Deep down, you're not able to forget some of the trauma, the pain, because if you're still carrying it around, you're not able to forget it. But until you deal with it, especially some of them that is in the subconscious mind of when you were growing up, that hurt, that childhood pain as well, those are the ones that are lingering still, because it happened from when you were that young, and you're still, and some of you are in adulthood and you're still carrying it around. So in order to love your spouse in the way that you're meant to love your spouse, in order for your relationship to be successful, in order for your relationship to develop, you have to deal with those insecurities. Deal with it in a way that may be professionally, any way possible, but do not say you are going into a relationship. And if you are in a relationship, please seek help. If you are dealing with pain that you just can't get over, please seek help. Indeed. indeed. So that was the second one that we wanted to share with you as well. If you're on here and you've got a question for us, please don't forget to type it in and let us know who you are that is watching as well, okay? And the third one that we wanted to share was to be observant of each other. Be observant of each other. What do I mean by this? Be observant of each other. So if my husband has a bad day and he comes in from work, or even meet me at my workplace or so, I'm able to detect that. I'm able to spot that. I'm able to just pick up from his body language and able to say, what's up? You know, something ain't right here. You know, you've got to be able to detect that. How do you invest in your relationship? By detecting your spouse body language, by being able to pick up on things, be observant with each other. Indeed, if he's not having a good day, I can tell he's not having it. If something is bothering him, I can tell, because his body language will tell. Why? How can I tell? Because I'm being observant of him.
Yes, mind reader. She's a mind reader.
It's being
no, I'm joking.
Observant. Constantly.
It's true. Once you've been with someone for a while, you know, you get to kind of you know, you can pick up on things. You know, if you know that person quite well, you know, you can tell by, if you know, you, as you said, you know, after a long day of work and you come in, something happened. You can usually tell if there's something wrong. You can tell either by the body language you ask them a question, and also by the reply that you get back.
Absolutely.
You know, the expression on their face. You know, so many things. You know, you can. That gives you that trigger.
Yeah, that's a trigger. It is a trigger, a sign. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. And it's so important, because he could come in, my husband could come in, and if I'm not observant of him, and say for instance he says, you know what, I'm you know, I need to just go and do some work or so, he still has that on his brain and he's thinking about it, and before you know it, his brain is just focusing on what has happened throughout the day, or something is bothering him. But if I'm able to detect that, and has wives as well, we should be able to even, you know, spot when a husband, when a partner is not, you know, having a bad day or so. We need to tell. So if he comes in and I know that he's not having a good day, I could spot that, I can detect that, then I'm able to speak to him. I'm able to say to him, so what really happened? And then from that we can talk about it, and by just talking about it, you are able to build that relationship and help your spouse get through whatever they're thinking about. It helps so much. If I'm having a bad day, my husband will be able to tell. He can just see my face
body language,
will say it all. And then he keeps, you know, what's the matter? And because he's prolonging what's the matter to me, I've got to open up and to say. And sometimes I like to keep it in, and I'm like, okay, then let me see if I can deal with this on my own. But because he's prolonging, what's wrong? What's the matter? Something ain't right, and I've got to open up to you, and I've got to say.
But if there's something wrong, it'll be better if your partner know about it, or you know, your wife or your husband knows about it. In order to, you know, maybe, you know, by talking about things, maybe, you know, you can rectify it. You can help. You probably can give some advice. You know, sometimes when you talk about things, you do feel better. You know, as they would say, you can offload. You know, from one to another. But yeah, it is vital.
Very much.
You know, to talk about things. In order to move forward from it, you know, and if something happened, you know, the best way is just deal with it. Just deal with it instead of keeping it bottled up inside and boiling and let it, you know, wind you up. You know, just talk about it.
I know for myself, like when I open up to you, that's, I'm getting a cuddle, I'm getting, I'm feeling love, I'm feeling, I'm just feeling the love from my husband because I've opened up. He sees my body language and know that, something ain't right with you. And he's straight away, he's kind of giving me a cuddle, making sure that, reassures me that, don't worry about it, Car. Don't worry about it. That's what he'll say. Don't worry about it, Car. You can do this. You can face that, indeed. So when you open up, when you are observant first of your spouse, then you open that airway so that you can give that reassurance by a cuddle, a kiss, or something, indeed. So be observant, please, ladies, please, gentlemen, you've got to be observant so you're able to detect. And when you detect, make sure that you're able to do something about it, but being open about what it is that you are going through. Because sometimes it's hard at first to say, right, this happened at work, oh, that person said something, indeed. But once you let it out, then it helps your relationship. That's the bond that you have together, indeed. I know he's got my back, and I know for certain that I've got his back, indeed. So again, be observant of each other. Mood swing, check it out. Facial expression, check that out.
The main thing is just about the body language. You can tell from the body language that something is wrong. You can pick it up, and by just asking a simple question, how was your day? By the response from that, you should be able to tell if there's something right or something is wrong.
Do you think that you're able to tell straight away? I think with me, I give it away a lot. If something is happening, do you think you're able to tell straight away? Because I think my face probably...
9 out of 10 times,
He's able to tell.
Yeah, if you spend the time, spend the time and talk or whatever, then you'll find out.
Absolutely. I know if my husband comes in, I'm able to pick up straight away. If he's like not having a good day or something is bothering him or something's playing on his mind, I can tell that something is not right there. So in terms of that, I get to speak to him and to see if I can go to the bottom of it. But it's watching the body language when when they first come back home or so. And I love to see. So that's the tip that we wanted to share, that as soon as your partner, your spouse comes in, make sure you check the body language, check how they're doing, because sometimes they're not straight away going to say to you how their day has been.
But you find, like, if you do find a lot of men, some men, they're stubborn, some women, same thing, they're stubborn as well. A lot of them, they don't like to open up.
But again,
how are you, everything all right? Yeah, fine. And you're gone. It's...
But as I said, if you prolong it, that's what my husband does. So he'll prolong it. Oh, I know you're not fine. I can tell that you're not fine. And then eventually you'll have to open up, indeed. So prolonging, is there something that I can help you with? Can we talk about it? And sometimes some men probably don't want to talk about it straight away, because that's how men are. Ladies, can you give them schedule a time? You can say, can we talk about it, after dinner? Can we talk about it later on when the kids are in bed? Can we talk about it? So set a time that you can talk about it, indeed, and just reassure your husband, reassure your partner, reassure your spouse that everything is right. You've got his back, he's got your back, indeed, and then you can move on. But that's a great way. That's a great tip of investing in your relationship. Be observant of each other every day. Don't let a single day go past where you don't take notice of each other. Indeed. Yes. We know that you are watching, but if you have got any questions, please let us know as we're going to. So the next one that we wanted to share with you is, this is so important as well. Do you want to talk about it?
Go on and tell them what it is then.
So it's keeping your relationship private. Keeping your relationship private, meaning that you've only got you two in the relationship, and guess what? The only third party that comes in that relationship, right, is God. That's the only third party that comes in your relationship. So no family member, no in-laws, no stepchildren, no friends. Your relationship is between you and your spouse. Your relationship is between you and your partner. No third party. The only third party is God. that is in it. And when you do that, you are going for a good thing. You are in for a good thing. Indeed, there's a lot of problem that arises when there's others involved in it, and you don't want to go there. The relationship should strictly be you and your partner. I don't care who else is living at your house, stepchildren. Is not in the relationship. The relationship is you two. God put you. Two becomes one. The only person that is involved in that relationship should be God and God only. Yes, indeed, Joy Wilson, a big shout out to you. We can see your name there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for letting us know who you are. Let me know if you are enjoying it and if you've got any questions for us as well. So keep your relationships private. What do you want to add?
There's a saying that says, three is a crowd, to be honest with you. Your relationship should be private. Really, it should just be about just you two. There shouldn't be no one else involved. Absolutely. And also, if you have any issues going on or any problems in your relationship, if it's not, I would say maybe, because some things you can't deal with between you two. So maybe you want to, probably your pastor, for example, or your bishop, or
professional,
someone,
help.
Someone that's genuinely, want to help you resolve whatever issues it is. Because you do, say if you have a problem and you go and speak to someone about it, it's not everyone that's gonna give you the right advice. Some people they will give you advice to mash up your relationship, to make things worse,
ruin it.
To make it escalate to something else. Make it worse. To be honest, so I wouldn't seek no advice. Because I know a lot of people, once something happen in their relationship, they like to run to Tom, Dick, Harry, Susan, I'm just calling random names. For example,
he's not calling your name.
So ladies, gentlemen, if you got a problem or whatever, try and deal with it between you two, first. Try and resolve it. To be honest, because there's no problem that's too big that you can't deal with. You can't conquer. If you sit down and compromise, talk about it together, work together on it, it should be able to resolve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also I wanted to touch on when you have children in your relationship, you've got stepchildren in your relationship. This again can be a problem if it's not dealt with in the right way, right form, right fashion. So your children, right, they're not in the relationship. They are not a part of the relationship because a lot of times our children can become a problem to a relationship, but then we have to know how. The relationship is between you two. The children are there. They're there for for the family. They make up your family, but your relationship is you two, and the third party is God. So in order to keep and to invest in your relationship, you've got stepchildren. You've got to know that limit. You've got to know that boundary. Indeed, does my stepchild get on with my partner? How do I deal with that? Indeed, you've got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that you both are in a relationship. You choose to love and to cherish each other. For those who are not married and you're in a relationship within a partner as well, you choose to be together. So you have to make sure that children do not come into that relationship. They're part of the family, but they're not in the relationship. Only you two. So you've got to keep your relationship private. The children doesn't need to know what is happening in your relationship, because again, that causes a lot of problem. Stepchildren, that can cause a lot of problem indeed. So make sure that your relationship is between you two. Keep it private. And another thing that I wanted to share is not everybody needs to know what is going on in your relationship. Some people, as my husband just said, they're there. You think that they're there on your side, but they're there to ruin your relationship. They're just waiting for you to just step down. And ladies, you got to be so careful. Listen, right? I talk to my husband all the time, and I tell him, right, some people, they're just there and they laugh with you, and they're all, he can tell you, I tell him straight, right? Right? And I tell, I will say this proud, right? They're there and they laugh with you. They're probably waiting for the minute you drop dead to go in on your relationship. So you got to make sure that don't run to anyone.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Vice versa.
A lot of men out there, they're probably waiting for me to die so that they can,
vice versa.
be in my shoes.
Yeah, you've got to be
the same thing, but
mindful. You've got to be mindful.
Definitely.
Of who you speak to. Not everybody wants to see the best in your relationship, and I think a lot of times that's the issue there, because you think you can trust that friend. You think that that friend is loyal to you, indeed, and therefore you go to that friend and you'll say to that friend, but deep down that friend is definitely waiting for that opportunity, indeed, and that friend may not want to see you happy. So I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, keep your relationship private. The relationship is just between you two. The only person that comes in is God, indeed.
I think whatever happened at home should stay at home.
Absolutely.
To be honest. And that should just be between you two, no brothers should be involved, no sisters, no auntie, no uncle, no auntie susu, auntie fufu, as Bishop would say. None of them should be involved with you, to be honest with you. You should try initially and sort things out between yourselves. Then if you can't rectify it, once you cover all angles and you try your best to rectify it and resolve things, if you cannot do it, then you probably step out and then you seek like a professional relationship from someone that is qualified, someone that will help you, not someone that's gonna chop you down or to mash up a relationship or to make things worse, really, or ruin things. Your family, your friends might give you advice or whatever, but deep down inside, they're probably not happy for you anyway. To be honest, they just wanna mash up things or whatever. Because some people, to be honest with you, God forgive me for saying this, but they're home wreckers. If you do find a lot of people like that.
Family wreckers, and you've got to be mindful, discerning spirit. I always say, this is the word I say to my husband all the time, you've got to have a discerning spirit.
Definitely.
Indeed, you have to have a discerning spirit. And I want to say that sometimes you can always seek, I know even within our church, we can find somebody that we can, ask genuine advice. And when you seek those people, right, there must be that person that's not going to be biased. They're not going to take side. They're there to give genuine, honest opinion. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear, or they're not going to tell you what your partner want to hear. They're going to give the honest advice, indeed.
And if you're going to seek advice, as I said earlier, it need to be someone that is qualified to give you advice. Why am I saying that? How can you, for example, how can I go and seek financial advice from a broke man? A man that hasn't got money. He can't give me advice about money. The same thing, or seek advice to buy a house from someone that's homeless. I'm not beating nobody down or whatever. I'm just saying, whosoever it is that you're gonna get advice from need to be someone that that is qualified to give you advice. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's got to be somebody that is in a position.
They need to be in a position
to give you advice. Indeed, a lot of people like to say things. They like to give advice, but how have you wore the T-shirt? Have you stick it out? Because some people again wear the T-shirt. They've been there, but did they stick it out? But how can you give me advice?
You can't seek advice from someone that is single. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not beating nobody down. But, if you're in a relationship and there's someone out there that's single and they're telling you, oh, do this, do that, or whatever, don't listen to them. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They haven't got a clue. You need to seek advice. Find even if you go to church, there's plenty of old elderly people there. I like to talk to them. Not about my business, you know. But I don't know. What's the word for it? I love old people. I love talking to them. You know.
So advice that.
Oh
they
yeah,
give. Indeed.
yeah, definitely. And the encouragement that they give you as a youngster, you know, it's uplifting.
Absolutely.
You know?
We
But
just
yeah, you know, seek advice from someone that is qualified to give advice. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we just wanted to just to pause just to say hi to you, Keisha, Jay, say hi to you, Mate Johnson. Thank you so much. We can see, yes, so true, good advice. 3 is a crowd. I can see that. Totally agree. We use wisdom. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you so much for participating. Indeed, there we are so honored to have you on here as well. And sometimes we just want to finalize that. Sometimes you could see somebody that's been married for 40 years, right? And you can have somebody that's married for 10 years. Now, what I want you to understand is not because somebody's been married for 40 years, that tells you that they've got a good advice to give you, because a lot of people's been married for 40, a good understanding of marriage. They've been married for 40 years, but guess what? They stayed in a relationship because of the children.
A lot of them, they're not happy,
and they're not happy.
They just stick it out. To be honest with you, which is sad. It is sad.
And so it's so important that you seek advice. Be discerning when you're seeking advice. Who do you go to? You've got to be wise in whatever you're doing. Not because that person been married for 50 years. That tells you that they can give you advice, because sometimes they're in the relationship because, you know what, I'm doing it for the kids. You know what, I don't want to go. I'm way in my age now. I don't want to go out. Indeed. So be discerning when you're going to seek advice, and who do you seek advice to as well. But make sure that not everyone can know, not everyone should know what is happening in your relationship. Pray, seek God, and He will give you direction.
Definitely. I was just going to say, if the biggest the biggest
person,
the
greatest person,
not even the biggest, the greatest person that you can seek advice from is God. Any issues or concerns, just speak to Him. He will, one way or another, He will show you what to do, and he'll tell you, reveal it to you. It might not be in the way that you're expecting, but somehow He will reveal it to you. Just pray to Him and put your issues and your concerns across to Him, and He will advise you and direct you and lead you in the right direction that you need to go.
Absolutely. So we're going to move on to our next point, and is whenever there is an issue, right, in a relationship, whenever there is a problem in a relationship, right, you need to find a solution to it. So you've got a problem, you've got an issue, right, and we speak, but a lot of times there's no solution. So what's the solution? How are we going to move on? That's what I mean. How do you move on from that? Indeed. So this is the problem. This is the issue that you're having. How do you move on? You don't just have the issue and that's the conversation, because sometimes you speak about it. Be open. We talked about it in our first part 1. Be open. Be open-minded. So you talk about what's happening. But if there's no solution to it, now how do we go from here? How do we move on? How do we manage to continue to grow together, to love each other? There must be a solution. So whenever there's a disagreement or an issue in any form, ways or size, please make sure that there is a solution for it. So you both will need to get together. How do we move from it? How do we go forward? Indeed.
I think in order for you to move forward, you need to... I would if I was anyone and I'm having an issue or a problem, or something has arisen in a relationship, you need to find the root of whatever it is. You need to sit down, on a 1-to-1 and talk about it, whatever the issue or the concern is. You need to color that problem, as they would say.
Absolutely.
You need to color it. Whatever it is. Because in order for you to move forward, you need to deal with it in order to move to the next step. To be honest with you, you can't just brush it under the carpet and think that everything will be all right. No, you need to deal with that issue or that concern first, then move to the next chapter. To be honest with you, and and you need, you have to, the only way I think in order to do that, you need to communicate.
Absolutely,
you have to communicate.
Absolutely,
you have to communicate. You can't move forward by writing her a love letter or whatever.
Ain't gonna work.
No. You need to sit down and talk about it and compromise. Come up with a plan. With that solution. How are we gonna do this, or how are we gonna do that in order to move to the next chapter?
Absolutely, and we wanted to stress this because we find that a lot of times there's issues in relationship, but the issues you can talk about the issues in the relationship, but then there's no solution, and because there's no solution, you move on, and it happens another month. I give it a few months time or so, the same problem come back. The reason why it's come back to you is the reason why it's haunting you, because you haven't dealt with it. And that's why we said make sure that you have a solution for it. How are you going to move on? How are we going to stop that? How are we going to make sure that it doesn't happen again? And I'm not saying that everything is perfect, India, but there must be a solution to things in order to move on. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about investing in your relationship, investing in your relationship. So how are we going to move on from there? Make sure the solution, make sure you put in a solution. You've got to deal with that before. Say, for instance, if we've got an issue, we have to find a solution. There must be a solution before we can move on. What's the solution? How are we going to make sure that that doesn't happen again, or we don't get our wires crossed? There must be a solution, and from that solution, then it goes to right. We know that this is what we need to put in place. This is how we need to deal with things when it arrives, because we've dealt with that solution. So make sure that you put something in place. Deal with it so it doesn't keep recurring after over and over again. And then because if it does, you end up you step that forward, and then you end up stepping back, and then your relationship is like bouncing. You're going forward and you're going backwards. You
tend to find a lot of relationships, they fail because you find a lot of breakups because people they tend not to deal with the issues that they have. Something happened, it didn't get resolved, so they move on, carry on with life, and then something has happened, then they carry on, without resolving all those. Before you know, tens of things happen. Before you know it, a whole kettle of fish, nothing is getting solved. Nothing is getting solved at all.
Because there was no solution put in place.
Before you know it, then one day, argument happen, and then she's telling him this. You remember this, that, whatever happened a year ago, or whatever. Because all these things are coming up. All these things are coming up because nothing at all was dealt with in the first place. So you have to, in order to move to the next chapter, you have to deal with all these little devils.
Absolutely.
You have to deal with them.
It's vital. It is so vital in a relationship that the solutions are there in order. It could go on for years, and because the solutions, you're not coming up with a solution. You're not having a concrete solution. Right. This is how we need to deal with it. This is how this is not going to happen again. Right. Because this is what we put in place. This is how I've felt, and because how I felt about it, this is what we're going to do. And when you do that, right, you'll find that your relationship, the same problem do not occur again.
What you just said about how you felt, a lot of people, they're afraid to express their feelings as well. You need to express your feelings. Tell the other party how you feel. You have to. If you don't express what's in here, then you're not being true to yourself. You need to. You need to express yourself. Because if something happened and I don't tell Nashauna, she's not a mind reader. She might be able to pick up that from my body language or the way I respond to her, that something is wrong. But if I don't tell her, look, this is what happened, then she's not gonna know. you know. So you need to, you need to. A lot of people,
Okay.
because of pride, you know, you need to just swallow your pride. You know, this is your relationship at the end of the day. You know,
Absolutely.
if you want it to work, it will work. If you don't want it to work, it will fail.
Absolutely.
Yeah? So what you put in is what you get out. You know, so you need to express yourself. You're not being soft or whatever. I know some men out there, they're tough. They're tough or whatever, and they think, oh, by dropping their guard, they're being soft. No, you're not being soft. At the end of the day, you know, if you can't express yourself to your woman, or your woman can't express herself to you,
Real talk.
it's pointless.
Absolutely.
It's
that's
pointless. You need to.
And men as well, you know, it's real talk from a real man saying that, you know, sometimes you've just got to drop your guard and you need to say what it is, you know, don't bubble it up, don't keep it up, because us women are not mind readers. We're not able to tell.
No one is.
If you're not able to say to us what you're going through, we can't tell what you're going through. So be open. You're not letting your guard down, this man thing. You're not letting your guard down, but indeed you are investing.
As May John said, they need to be transparent with each other.
Absolutely.
It's true.
You have to.
It's true.
You know, it's not about, I'm keeping my guard up, you know, I'm a man, it's a man thing. It's not about that.
No.
It's about investing in your relationship, and how much do you value your relationship? How bad do you want your relationship to work? That's what you've got to think about. It's not about being a man. It's not about being that man thing, but being able to sustain your relationship and doing everything possible that you can to make your relationship work. So, you know, we wanted to just touch base on that and make sure that
you do find a lot of good women out there and good men out there, and you know, you can't let, because of your emotions and because of your pride, you know, you throw away a good thing. To be honest with you, you have to, you know, you have to give it your 100%. You know, as I said earlier, you're not being soft or whatever, but you know, if you find a good woman, or woman, if you find a good man, you know, you need to, you need to, you know, put in that work.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to put that work in and be transparent and open, you know, and honest. You need to be honest.
That's
you need to be honest.
Being honest.
With each other. You know, if you feel something, you know, you should be able to approach your wife or your lady and say, look, this is the situation. And the same thing, she should be able to approach her husband or her boyfriend or partner and say, look, this is, you know, XYZ or whatever, you know. You should be able to be approachable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, just as we touched on, if there's an issue, make sure there's a solution. I just felt in my spirit just to say this again, reinforces. I think I touched on a bit last week, but you know, sometimes in a relationship and you find that your relationship is just going, and you know, when it comes to going sour, indeed, and sometimes you know that this is what I expect from my husband. I want, you know, that to rekindle that love. And ladies, if you want your husband looking a certain way, smelling a certain way, having that haircut, having something like, make sure that you invest, make sure that you know, take him to the barbers, ask him to go to the barbers, ask him to get a shave, you know, make sure that you put that thing in.
It's the same thing. Husband, you know, boyfriend, partners, the same thing. If you want your woman to look decent, and you know, you need to you know, to help her along the journey also, you know. You need to let her feel good about herself.
Absolutely.
You know, you should make her to feel like no other man would make her feel. You know, the way that you speak to her, the way you approach her. You know, you need to you know, go the extra mile. You know, let her feel like you know, like nobody else would make her feel.
Queens.
You know,
Absolutely.
Definitely, definitely, and you know, don't only take pride in yourself. Take pride in her as well, you know.
It's a vice versa.
As I said last week, you know, it's not 50-50, it's 100% you have to give, you know. So, you know, all the areas of, if you're going to spend your life with that person, you know, and she's the right person for you, you need to go the extra mile to make sure, you know, all areas of your life, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, every area is covered. You know, she's not lacking nothing, or he is not lacking nothing. So vice versa,
Absolutely.
everything, every area should be covered. She's tapping me. Yes, you want to
No,
talk?
I just wanted to
then.
say something, right? I just wanted to touch on one of the things that I do a lot and my husband do a lot, right? So I don't just fix myself up, right, and I forget about my husband, right? So I'm making sure that we look the part. We both look the part. We are, we're a couple. We come together, indeed. Because sometimes I find that ladies, you can fix yourself up and you forget to fix your husband up. You forget to fix your spouse up. What about him? If you're gonna put that and spend all that on you, make sure that your husband look in the part as well. You two, you are a team. And if I represent my husband represent me. If somebody see him looking, wow, not looking the part, his hair is, his beard and everything, they're gonna say, right, that's your husband. And if somebody sees me looking, it's going to come back at him. So what we're trying to say is make sure that whatever you do for yourself, make sure that you do it likewise for your husband, for your spouse, for your partner. Make sure that both of you are looking and flying high together. And relationship is about 100%, as my husband says, not 50%, but 100%. But you've touched on a topic, and that's our last topic that we wanted to share with you, being respectful to each other. We wanted to say,
definitely,
be respectful men to your wives, to your partner, ladies. Make sure that you are. You're just jumping in on this.
It's not even that.
Yeah, he's ready to say.
I just remember something. We're talking earlier about abusive relationship and so forth. Yeah. You know that it's not just man alone beat woman. Woman is out there beating man.
It is.
You know that?
I know.
Yeah.
It's something
Some man have to be home before a certain time, because otherwise the wife or the partner putting licks on them.
Right.
But anyway, that strike it off the topic. Sorry.
I don't know where that came in, but I think he wanted to put a point that not just women, not just men, right, beat women, but he's trying to say that ladies beat men as well. Indeed, but what we wanted to say is to be respectful
of each other, definitely,
to each other. Make sure that we're not disrespecting. How do we communicate to our husband, to our wives, to our partners? How do you communicate? Do you answer back in a disrespectful way, because that's no way investing in your relationship? How do you answer back? How do you say your body language? What do you say? Always be mindful that you are respectful, because being disrespectful, that ain't gonna work in the relationship. So we wanted to definitely give some advice on that. You have to be respectful. It doesn't matter how much you are hurting inside. We understand that. But guess what? You still have to be respectful in everything that you do. That's what makes a relationship go from strength to strength. You can see that you are hurting, but guess what? I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm not going to lower my level just because I wanted to get something over on you. So you have to be respectful to each other at all times, especially if there are children around seeing that. Children pick up on these things. When my children hear me speak to my husband, they should hear respect. And likewise, my husband tells his sons all the time, this is how you look after your wife. He makes sure that he gives them make sure that you do this for her. And he literally gives my boys these advice, so they know that you make sure that you look after your wife.
We're a living example. So we're growing young men, and also some parents are growing young ladies also. So you need to be that role model. You need to show them, because if you don't show them, who's gonna show them?
Absolutely. And they grow up not knowing.
Yeah, they're not knowing. So whether it's my can I just say something? My when I was 3 months old, I was living with my grandma since I was 3 months old. Before I came to the UK, and I remember when I growing up with her, and the way how I see she treat her sons, you know, because her husband passed away years ago, so you know she kind of like fathered them as well, mother and father role, you know, and the way how I see she grows them and stuff and teach them, you know, how to be respectful, how to do certain things. You know, even me myself, my grandma, she taught me a lot of stuff as well. You know, she said to me, Dwayne, I'm going to teach you these things so that when you're older, no woman can take liberty of you. And I thank you for that, grandma. You know, she teach me to cook, to clean, how to iron. You know, in Jamaica, we wasn't fortunate to have a washing machine or a tumble dryer. We used to wash in a plastic bath pan. You know, yeah, and stuff like that. I remember when I was 7 years old, I cooked my first pot when I was 7 years old on a wood fire outside, chicken foot soup. It was on a Friday. I'll never forget it.
He's a great chef.
Never forget it.
Absolutely.
So, you know, a lot of things you need to embed in the younger ones from an early age so that, you know, when they're older, you know, they will never depart from them. They know this is the way that dad or mom used to do things. So, you know, this is the right way. So this is the way we're gonna do it as well. And when they also have their kids, they can also do the same thing as well.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to read some of the comments. It says lack of respect causes real problem in relationship. Respect each other at home or in public. I totally agree with that. At home, whether
Definitely.
you know, especially when you're out in public. Come on, man, you've got to respect each other. So again, thank you so much for sharing that. Another one, respect is the key factor. Absolutely. You know, you've got to respect. The minute that you don't respect, the minute you are being disrespectful, you're telling your spouse that, you know what, you don't mean me any good. And that is how simple it is. The minute you decide to be disrespectful, you are saying that I don't value you anymore, I don't care for you anymore. But when you choose to be respectful in everything, even if it hurts, be respectful, and it goes a long way. So we wanted to definitely make sure that you have this, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. Be respectful to each other in anything that you do. You want to grow your relationship. You want your relationship to go to the next level. You want to invest in your relationship. Make sure that you are being respectful at all times, especially if your children are watching. Indeed, they take tips from you. They're seeing what is happening, and therefore they grow up to become that version of you or your spouse. They will become that version, and sometimes
they live what they learn.
We wonder why our children are being like that. Is because of what they've seen at home, and certainly it affects them. Because
you know what just came to me. You know, a lot of relationships. You know why they fail? I'm asking you a question. No?
Disrespectful communication.
And you know what just came to thought that just came to me? A lot of people they enter into a relationship and they're not willing to change.
Again.
They're not willing to change. A lot of them they're not willing to change. You know, in order for you to grow, you have to be willing to change.
That's
in
a
order
valid point.
to get to the next level. Yeah.
What would you say to like a male? I'm just saying because you're a male. What would you say to a male that enters a relationship and they've got their ways that been embedded in them, and no matter what they think that is right, this is how you do it. Especially that when we think a lady's house is a lady's definitely her roles is in the house and she's got to do that, and that's just some whole fashion thing. That what would you say to men that about changing? Indeed, when embrace change.
To me, when you enter into a relationship, you enter into a relationship with a blank slate. Blank. You don't go in there saying we're doing it this way or that way or whatever. No. You have to have an open mind. Yeah? You have to be open-minded. You have to be considerate as well, and willing to negotiate.
Absolutely.
As well. You have to compromise.
Yeah.
Because, you might for example, you might like to I don't know, how could I say this now?
Leave a certain area, like
you probably like the curtains closed, for example, yeah? And I like them open, for example, so you compromise. nighttime we close it, and daytime is open. You know, you come up with a solution. You know, so you have to go in there with a open mind, and you know, because a lot of people, they kind of grow up a certain way, so you know they don't want to change. This is me, and this is who I am. You know, that's how they would say. This is me. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. That's a load of nonsense, to be honest with you. That is nonsense. You need to, if you meet somebody, yeah, and you care about that person, you should be willing to change and for you two to grow, in order to grow
together
to the next level. You know,
absolutely. It's not about growing on your own. It's growing together.
It's not about me. No, it's about us. It's about a oneness, togetherness. Yeah.
And it just touched on, for me, like a topic is living together without falling apart. And these are some of the things. We're living together. We have to live together, but we don't want to fall apart. So these are some of the tips that we can give in terms of living together and growing stronger, not falling apart without falling apart. And these are some of the things that we wanted to say. You know, change, embrace change. One of the early things that I've learned in my married life when we got married was you know, be open-minded. You know, you're not always you got to give away your right for your wrong. That's something that I've learned personally. Sometimes I know my husband, you know, he'll think that, you know, that's the right way, but
No.
and you know what, ladies, you know, to be honest, right, sometimes you just got to go with it. Yes, it is the right way. It's the right way. And you know deep down, right, as a woman, you know deep right, that ain't the right way. That ain't the right way, right? But you gotta have to give away your right for your own. Just say, you know what, you are right. You know, you're right, babes. You're right. Let's do it that way. But you know deep down, you know what, that ain't the right way to do it. But sometimes compromising, you've got to just give things, and you've got to be prepared, because a lot of people go into the relationship, but they're not prepared to do these things, and you've got to be prepared to be able to compromise. It's not always going to be about how you want it to work. Indeed, and even though sometimes, ladies, you're always right. Sometimes you just got to say, you know what, bugger it. You know what, I'm going to just give it. My husband just boiling to say something. He's just going to defend.
No.
But a lot of times, that's what I've learned early into my married life is, you know, the compromisation.
Yeah, but that was in the beginning. But as you grow together, get to know each other, understand each other, that, you know, that it's not about me, it's about us.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, instead of saying that I'm going to do it this way, you know, ask, how do you think we should do it? Or do you think we should do it this way? What do you think? You know, and then from that, you come together and then move forward from that.
Absolutely, and it shouldn't be any grudge, because sometimes you know, as I said to you, ladies, I'm cracking a joke, but let's be real now. You know, sometimes in everyday life, let's be real right now. So sometimes, you know, your partner, your spouse, right? That way, it's not always the right way. Maybe you've got a better or quicker way of getting there or doing the thing, right? But you know what? You work together. You know what? Let's do it his way, you know, for tonight. You know, let's do that and then see how it works indeed. But you've got to be willing to compromise. It's not about you. There's no one person in a relationship, two persons, and there's a third party, which is God. The only third party is God. If you find that there is a third party and it's not God, then you need to get rid of it. You need to let it go. You need to kick it out. But if there's God, God must be in your relationship. And when God is in your relationship, everything will work out right. Make sure you seek Him as well. Indeed.
May Johnson put, we always want to change the other person. Be the first to make a change. But that's true. That is true. As I said earlier, you know, when you enter into a relationship, you have to go in there with an open mind, willing to change.
Absolutely.
You know, in order to grow. But you do find a lot of people, they're saying, oh, you need to change, I'm fine, or whatever, which is a load of nonsense, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to be willing to change.
And
I'm not saying, oh, you know, to change everything. No, you need to change your mindset, the way you look at things, the way you think about things, you know, and so forth.
I think, in life, you've got to understand yourself first, and then you understand others. So you understand yourself, understand who you are, then you're able to understand others. Indeed, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure sharing with you and how to invest in your relationship. If you have missed part 1, you can go back on my YouTube channel. It is there. Part 1 is there, and how to invest in your relationship. Tonight we gave you 6 tips on how again to invest in your relationship. The first one we said was learning to love yourself, loving yourself first. The second one was letting go of your insecurities. Indeed. The third one we shared was to be observant to each other. Make sure you check out your partner, your spouse.
You need to be each other keeper.
Absolutely. The fourth one we shared was keeping your relationship private. Again, your relationship is about you two. And God, nobody else, no ex, no in-laws, no family member, no stepchildren. It's about you two. Children are part of the family, but when you talk about relationship, it's about 2 persons and God being involved as well. And the fifth one that we share is when there is an issue, make sure you find a solution for it. And we just talked about the 6th one, which was the last one. Absolutely. Be respectful to each other. We pray that you've learned something, you've been challenged by it, and this will take your relationship to the next level, living together without falling apart. Indeed, we want to thank you again for joining us. We know, please tune in for next week, and we will be out again, so make sure, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Indeed,
definitely. So we'll be back on next week, Sunday, 7:30 again, live spare, and all being well. I trust and hope that you've enjoyed it, to be honest with you, and I pray that that you will always do the right thing. As my granddad always said to me, you need to be like a carpenter, measure twice and cut once. So what I mean by that, you should think twice in every situation and act once. God bless you, and I pray that God will keep you all.
Keep your relationship growing from strength to strength, and you will be encouraged indeed. Take care. Thank you so much for joining. Remember to leave a comment for us, okay?
Please do.
Leave a comment how you felt the show went, and if you've got a question, you can always send that question in indeed. But thank you again so much for joining
remember
us.
To like, share, and subscribe. Please,
Absolutely.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
Share this with somebody,
so others can be blessed also. Thank you. See you next week.
Bye now. Bye.